Are you serious? Are you serious, guys? Wow. Listen, Russia is furious. Vladimir Putin is livid over the new sanctions that just been put on Russia by the Biden administration. And this thing, you talk about poking the bear. You talk about really what a tense moment we're in now when you start looking at the overall situation developing in Europe with, of course, with Ukraine moving thousands of troops to the border to protect themselves against a possible Russian invasion, and the United States sending in warplanes into the Black Sea, and all of this tension is building big time. We've not been here in a long time, really, between the superpowers of the United States and Russia. But let me tell you more about that in just a second. First, let's put a shout out real fast for www.agewithpaul.com. That's www.agewithpaul.com. You know, turmeric spice was revealed by ancient cultures, and there's a good reason for it. It's the closest thing we have really to the real life fountain of youth. This spice, however, you can't just use any kind of turmeric. You have to have the turmeric that's highly absorbent. This is why I highly recommend by BioTrust, www.agewithpaul.com. This is Ageless Body. They've sold now almost 1.5 million bottles of this. 1.5 million bottles. And the reason is it's so good by giving your body that missing ingredient that turmeric puts to the body, that supplement on the market. It's 46 times more effective in this formula than anything else that's out there. And it helps restores the softer, smoother, more youthful looking skin and pain relief from arthritis. It's great for your hair, for your fingernails, for your joints. It's your teeth. It's just incredible, really. Go right now to www.healthwithpaul.com. That's www.agewithpaul.com. That's www.agewithpaul.com. All right, let me tell you what's going on here. And I'm so glad for each and every one of you with me right now live. This is the story, okay? This is the story that's taking place right now. And that is the United States has imposed sweeping sanctions targeting Russia's economy. The Biden administration has just announced it will sanction dozens of Russian officials and entities, expelled 10 diplomats from the United States, and have set new restrictions on buying Russian sovereign debt in response to this massive SolarWinds hack of the federal agencies and interference that took place way back in the 2020 election, according to the Biden administration. Why it matters? Well, the sweeping acts of retaliation are aimed at imposing heavy economic cost on Russia after years of sanctions that have failed, and to deter an increasingly aggressive and authoritarian President Vladimir Putin. Now, details say the administration formally accused Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service of carrying out the SolarWinds hack, with Microsoft President Brad Smith has called the largest and most sophisticated attack the world has ever seen. The intelligence community said it has high confidence in this assessment. Matter of fact, the package of sanctions will bar U.S. banks from buying Russian government bonds directly from the country's central bank. It will also, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, the Ministry of Finance, beginning June 14th, complicating Russia's ability to raise money in international capital markets. A senior administration official told reporters the move would create a broader chilling effect that will weaken the ruble and have negative implications for inflation and economic growth. 6 Russian technology companies will be sanctioned for providing support for Russian intelligence cyber activities. and have been inconsistent with their diplomatic status in a signal that they were suspected spies. Another senior administration official noted the United States was taking additional steps which would remain unseen. Now, in a partnership with the European Union, the United Kingdom, Australia, and Canada, the United States will also sanction 8 specific individuals and entities for their role in Russia's ongoing occupation of Crimea. And also, today's sanctions will not be tied to allegations that Russia paid Afghan militants to attack U.S. troops. A senior administration official said that U.S. intelligence had only low to moderate confidence that that really happened, that Russia had made such payments because of the challenging operating environment in Afghanistan. And the administration said that given the sensitivity of the matter, it would be handled through diplomatic, military, and intelligence channels. Here's the big picture. On his second day in office, Joe Biden ordered the intelligence community to conduct a review into Russia's reckless and adversarial actions spanning 4 areas: election interference, solar winds hack, the poisoning and jailing of the opposition leader Alexei Navalny, and reports of Russian bounties on U.S. troops in Afghanistan. But the U.S. sanctioned 7 senior Russian officials back in March after assessing with high confidence that the Federal Security Service officers poisoned Alexei Navalny using a nerve agent. 2 weeks later, U.S. intelligence released a report assessing that Putin authorized election influence operations aimed at denigrating Biden's candidacy. Now, the announcement comes just 2 days after President Joe Biden held a phone call with Vladimir Putin and proposed a summit in a third country in the coming months. Biden also warned Putin against further cyber intrusions and election interference and raised concerns over Russia's massing of forces on the border with eastern Ukraine, which CIA Director William Burns said yesterday is now large enough for a limited military incursion. And a senior administration official said it was unclear whether Putin would accept Biden's summit proposal, but that it was vital for these 2 men to meet in the next coming months to find a stable, predictable way forward. We have no desire to be in an escalating cycle with Russia, said one of the American officials, while adding that the United States reserves the right to respond to any Russian reaction to today's moves. And so, guys, this thing is getting now, what is Russia saying? Well, they're saying we condemn any sanction aspirations. We believe they are illegal. In any case, the principle of reciprocity applies in this case. Responding will meet our interests in the best possible way, according to the Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov. Now, U.S. Ambassador to Moscow, John Sullivan, was summoned to the Russian Foreign Ministry, according to spokeswoman Maria Zakharova, and was given a briefing this morning. So, one more thing worth noting. Despite the fact that the United States is itself highly active in cyber espionage, a senior administration official said it was appropriate to respond to the solar winds attack because of its broad scope and scale. The possibility that networks could have been degraded in the blink of an eye, and because the burden fell largely on the private sector. So that's what we're saying. Yes, the United States has spies. The Russians have spies. The Chinese have spies. Every nation has spies. The British, everybody. The Israel, everybody. That's one thing, to try to get intel so that your country knows what the other countries are doing. That's understandable. That's kind of like the rules of engagement. But to hack somebody's system to cause massive confusion and damage to its economy, to its systems and integrity of it, and the dangers that that poses, especially in a nuclear world, that's the part where the United States feels that Russia went over the line. Russia is not saying they didn't do it. Russia's not saying they didn't do it. Russia's just saying that the response by America is inappropriate. So this is guys, and this is going on right now while Ukraine, and we know the relationship that Biden has with the government of Ukraine. That's obvious. We know it. We know Burisma. We know that the connections with Hunter Biden. We know the connections with Joe Biden, and not only with the Ukrainians, but the Chinese, and even Hunter Biden and the former wife of the mayor of Moscow. We know that there's a lot of entanglements there that's beyond just our nation's interests. There's some personal ones as well. So this thing could become a very weird web that's being weaved, and it can get very convoluted fast when there's personal issues involved with the situation. But when you have this many weapons of warfare, when you got this much potential damage for chaos, we have to report this and let everyone pray about this. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm alerting you to the reality of what's happening. And I want you to pray about this, because there's a lot of wonderful people in Russia, wonderful, great Christians and wonderful people, as well as here in the United States. And the last thing we need is an escalation between our two nations when China is so on the run. I mean, China is being so aggressive globally, and really is our biggest problem right now. Not Russia, China. But are we understanding? Are we taking our eye off the ball? This is one of the things I think some people are wondering. Of course, this article I just read, just so you'll know, was coming from the Associated Press. It was posted on Axis, but it's also on several other websites. And so it is, from mainstream media. They are taking a strong look at this situation. But anyway, the Biden administration strikes back. And now we're going to find out what the implications of that mean, what that's going to be. Now, listen to me. I did 2 videos that I put on my app. They are huge. They're down at the bottom. If you go to the video section, you scroll down to the bottom, they're near the bottom. And they're huge. They're huge. One has to do with the Temple Mount. The other one has to do with Steve Quayle and his observations about Russia. So these are huge, exclusive videos only on the app. I want you to check those out. Go to the New Apocalypse Watch. That's the New Apocalypse Watch. Check it out. Find out what's going on. Watch the articles, and I'll throw out another info for you real quickly here. I was just on the phone with Israeli presidential candidate Rabbi Yehuda Glick. It was a very warm, very great conversation. I asked him some specific questions about his candidacy to become the president of Israel, not the prime minister. That's Benjamin Netanyahu, the president of Israel. Right now, the president of Israel is Reuven Rivlin, but his term is up at the end of the summer 2021. And Rabbi Yehuda Glick, who's a former member of the Knesset, from the same party as the Likud party, from the same party that Netanyahu is from, has announced his candidacy to become the president of Israel. And so I had a very candid conversation with him. I cannot share that information at this point. Instead, what he has agreed to do is come on our show in the future, but I will be able to share some information with you sometime next week on this. So it's very huge what's going on. It is a serious prophecy moment. I can tell you that. Prophecy. If you want to talk about end time prophecy with everything that's going on in the world, wow, folks, we're going to be, it's huge. So I'll tell you more about that next week. I've got to go right now. I got to go get my treatments done. And, but I think I don't think Heidi is going to, no, Heidi will not be doing a live broadcast today. She has another appointment. Instead, I'll be back with you guys tonight with a double header. Tonight, my guest will be at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. At 9:30 Eastern, doubleheader tonight. Gil Brazard. That's right. Gil Brazard will be my guest. And right after that, Mike from around the world. We're talking Planet X tonight. We're talking the heavens are shaking. We're talking asteroids, meteorites, comets, the sun exploding, all the rest of the stuff going on. Don't miss tonight. Billy Night Train, you're awesome as well, brother. I love you. Good to see you. And it's so important, guys. The Salvation Station, the number one goal. It's been my goal for 36 years in preaching the gospel. It is my number one focus, is to win people to Jesus Christ before it's too late. And I'm telling you, we're almost there.